the most powerful mash one button and win character in the game.
Dude is spinning around!
He looks so fucking mad, bro.
Dang, he's pissed.
He's definitely a high tier master at the very least.
There is no combo when it comes to Eddy, most likely.
Welcome to the LongStyle Anti-Eddy Guide. It's your boy himself, LongStyle Nuffa here, to preach the good word of Eddy bullying. Since Eddy's release into Tekken 8, there has been an Eddy invasion in the raid scene. From bots climbing the ladder using only one button, to Eddy players abusing the fact that you don't know what you're looking at. I'm here to change that. Now this isn't going to be a deep 100% completion guide of Eddy, but I'm here to teach what's important to get familiar with his most common moves and situations. The things I'm about to teach you, you're going to cook 90% of the Eddy population. But before we get into the specifics, let me give you a quick overview of this man, Eddy. So for Eddy's strengths, he has great lows, good pokes, 2 stances, and handstand Bananeira, relaxed stance, Negativa. They both give good pressure and mix-ups. I'll cover a bit more on those soon, but first, he also has a level up mechanic in Mandinga, where he gains moves in handstand and properties of those moves change as he stacks Mandinga at a maximum of 2 stacks. Alright, let me cover some of Eddy's weaknesses. At range, sidestep left to take advantage of Eddy's poor tracking on approaching moves. He's also susceptible to getting hit by opponents smashing mids. And like other stance characters, once in stance, it lowers the amount of moves you have to worry about. Without stance, his character is mid, so learning what gets him into stance is important to shutting down his win conditions. Now that we have a basic idea of Eddy, the general idea of countering Eddy is that you want to be sparing when using your highs. He has a lot of high crushing options that bring him into stance, so use your low hitting mids more when going up against Eddy. Also, Eddy has bad tracking, so you generally can sidestep him, especially when he's the one approaching, with Eddy's favorite move being forward 3, and while running 3, both lose a sidestep left. Eddy's main game plan is actually really simple. It's to work his way into relaxed stance, Negativa, and do one of 2 options. There's a third option, but it's fake and I'll cover that soon. One option from relax is relax 4-3. A mid-mid heat engager that if Eddy is already in heat turns into a launcher. If you block this string, it is -13. Now for the other part of the mix, relax 3-3, a low mid sweep that knocks down and is the main way Eddy gets his stack of Mandinga. Relax 3-3 is really strong but only knocks down on clean hit, and if it doesn't clean hit, you can block the second hit and punish with a 13 frame punish. So with some good situational awareness, there is some counterplay and we'll cover that soon. Now I want to cover that fake option I mentioned before. Relax 2-4 hold down. It's a mid high, you can go back into relax at +10 on hit that sets up the low mid mix up. 2-4 does have an extension with the string becoming 2-4-4. This string is not natural on hit or counter hit. But at the wall, if you mash, it does wall splat. As I mentioned earlier, he can decide to only do the first 2 hits and go straight back into relax. So you need to practice this string and train to be able to tell the difference between this one and the other mid and duck the second hit of this and launch. Eddy stances are really important that you're recognizing when he's getting into it because it's his main way of damage. This is how he gets his stuff going. So first let me talk about handstand stance. Handstand, also known as Bananeira, a more niche stance that has a couple OK mix-ups. He can go to it manually with forward 1+2, and is mostly used as a bridge to get into relaxed. It becomes a lot more useful though once he has at least 1 Mandinga stack, where then he gets access to new moves while in handstand 3+4, the low mix-up, and handstand back 4, a mid mix-up that gets stronger again once you get more stacks of Mandinga. And now for relax, aka Negativa. This is his main stance. A lot of Eddies are throwing out moves to eventually get into this stance. And with the whole end goal of enforcing that 50-50 we mentioned earlier that I said was really important to remember, I soon will cover more of the common flowcharts he's using to get into this stance. But without strings, he can mainly go into this stance with down 3+4. It's finally time. Let's cover some of the most common setups / flowcharts Eddies are doing to get into his stances to mix you. And first, we're going to start with the handstand stance. Most Eddies will go into handstand stance with 2-3 +8 on hit, -8 on block, and 3-3 +8 on hit, -3 on block. The first step before going into handstand specifics is to recognize these two moves, because if you block these, you have a good bit of counterplay to Eddy's handstand options, sometimes before he can even do anything from handstand itself. So 2-3 isn't Eddy's most common string used in the open, but if he does and you block it, it's -8 in the handstand. This is devastating for Eddy because you can float him with a fast mid before he can block or use an attack because he's forced to go into handstand. 2-3 on hit, you have to respect whatever the Eddy does after. Commonly is handstand 1, which brings Eddy into relax. From there, you have to take the mix up even on block, with handstand 1 being +6. With the 3-3 string on block, Eddy is -3 with an interesting standoff between you and the Eddy. At -3, down 4-1 beats all options except handstand power crush. But if you're on the ball, you can still hit him and have time to block. But 3-3 on hit, you'll still have to take the mix up. Commonly, once again, it's handstand 1 into relax, 50-50. And like I mentioned before, handstand 1 into relax, the 50-50 you have to respect. Another one of the most common options that Eddies are using to get into handstand is while running 3. It's commonly used as an approach tool that knocks down on hit, but on block goes into handstand at +8 and forces the defending player to respect the follow-up from handstand, which most likely will be handstand 1 that puts him at +6 into relax for a guaranteed mix-up. Another super common way Eddy gets into handstand is full crouch down forward 4. This one kind of comes in a package with Eddy's full crouch down forward 3. That one puts him in a relax. Full crouch down forward 4 puts him in handstand. It is a low. On block, it's launch punishable. On hit though, it's +9 in the handstand and you have to take whatever he does. Typically though, at +9, he'll go for handstand 1, which puts him into, once again, a relaxed stance at +6. You gotta respect the mix. This low is technically reactable with it being 24 frames, but with the other animation from the full crouch mid, it really isn't that reactable. Those are Eddy's most commonly used options to get into handstand. Make sure you spend some time recognizing these moves so you're not caught off guard and get mixed. As you notice, the most common used move after Eddy gets into handstand is handstand 1. This is most commonly used because most of the handstand options are pretty fake in pressure and can be floated with a jab or fast mid, or minus and punishable. The first move I want to mention is handstand's unbreakable throat. This is handstand 1+3. It also on hit transitions him into relax at +6. So once again, once in relax, +6 and above, you got to eat that mix. Another thing I want to mention about this is at the wall, you do want to be careful because handstand 1+3 does wall splat. The next move I want to mention in handstand is handstand back 3. This is Eddy's backswing blow. You don't see it too often, but you know, if you're applying that pressure to Eddy, they tend to sweat. They're going to try to steal their turn back, and if they do and you block it, it is -12. This next move is more likely to be used as his panic button. It's his power crush in handstand 1+2. Just like the last panic move, it's -12. Another honorable mention for a handstand move is handstand forward 2. It's a mid-mid natural hit string, but if you block it, -13. Handstand 4. Eddies might like to loop this. Everybody's been hit by handstand 4 in a loop at least once. If they do this, it's -3, so a consecutive one will get floated by a jab. Or it also being -3, you can sidestep. But do know, on hit, it is +10, so you really do have to respect anything that's coming after that. They might do handstand 1 once again and go into relax. 50-50 mix-up time. You've heard it a bunch so far. I may be sounding like a broken record here, but now we got handstand 1. This is the most common handstand move for a reason. It is really, really strong, leaving you at +6 on block. and it has like a strange vacuum feel to it, how it pulls you in even if you're blocking it, and forces the relaxed 50-50 mix. Now just because on block it forces the 50-50 doesn't mean it's a completely perfect move. Honestly, the best way to counter it is to see how he's going into handstand and sidestepping on the read of him doing handstand 1. When dealing with handstand 1 on block, you're just going to have to take the mix, make sure that you're getting the correct punishes if you guess correctly on the 50-50. But handstand 1 has poor tracking to both sides, so make sure that if you see what he's doing to get into handstand and you have the read, sidestep, launch. Eddy can do a sidestep back into handstand if he taps up or down. Some Eddies like to do sidestep into handstand, then do handstand 1, back to relax, and then repeat the sequence. If they're looping this, you as the defender can make a read if they're going to do a handstand 1 again, and sidestep that, and launch of course. And that's all for handstand. Now it's time to relax and cover the Negativa stance. Alright, let's talk about some relaxed setups and some of the counters to those. The most common ways into relax are 1-3 at +7 on hit and -14 on block. 4-4-3 +6 on hit, -13 on block. And handstand 1 +6 on block, +8 on hit. 1-3 is one of his more unsafe options that go into relax from standing. On block, you should be doing a 14 frame mid punish. Even though it is -14, he lays down into relax, evading punishes that are highs. Now remember, relax stance or Negativa's main goal is to get you into that 50-50 mix we explained earlier in the video. Now we got to talk about Eddy's favorite move, 4-4-3. This is definitely his most common option used from neutral to get into relax stance. It has pretty ridiculous range. It's a great tool to approach or close distance on a defender trying to back away. And it being a low, you have to actively make a read to deal with it. You can't just stand and block. It being +6 on hit into relax means you do have to take the guess on Eddy's 50-50. But it doesn't mean it's a perfect move. To deal with this, let's look at his weakness. To start, it has horrible tracking like Eddy's while running 3. So sidestep left kills 2 birds with 1 stone here. A general tip here is that as you're moving in neutral, throw in some sidestep lefts and you'll make it 100 times harder to even hit the move. Also, let's cover this move as an approach tool. This move being +6 on hit does force the 50-50. If you pay attention enough to the range that it's hitting you at, you might have a chance. When this move connects that tip range, the follow-up 50-50 is no longer scary. That's because the low needs clean hit to have the hell sweep property, and the mid isn't natural unless it has the clean hit property. So as long as you hold back and block, you'll block both follow-ups, with both the low mid and the mid being -13. But in this situation, you do still need to pay attention, because if he does relax 2-4, that's a string you could duck, and that's the third fake mix. Don't let him get away with that. 4-4-3 on counter hit also does guarantee Eddy 4-3, so be careful throwing out high keep out moves like a magic 4 or a back 1, because he'll crush the high and you'll get counter hit and 4-3. Eddy also has 1-3 in a relax. Personally, I don't think it's that good. I don't think Eddies usually use it, but if they do use it, it is -14, so make sure you're punishing correctly. He does high crush because he goes into stance, so make sure you're using your mid punisher. Before we move on, I want to cover some of Eddy's relaxed stance honorable mentions. Now I want to cover Eddy's relaxed grab. If he ever grabs you from relax, it's not unbreakable. It's a 1+2 break. He does have a big launcher if you tend to duck too early, and relax 3+4. Make sure on block you're launching this every time with it being -18. Now that we covered some of the stance stuff, I want to give you a little mini drill of moves that you should always be punishing. Don't let Eddies get away with these. We have down forward 1-3. Duck the second hit. There's no other option that he can do after down forward 1. It'll always be a high if he does the extension. Next we have down forward 3. Eddy's launcher without stance. It's launch punishable. Eddies like to use this as a whiff punish, similar to a jet upper from Brian. We have 2-1-4. 3-hit string, the third hit isn't natural, so make sure you're doing your 12 frame punish if you block it. 4-4, you could sidestep the second hit of this move and launch. 1-2-4, this string goes into a flip and he can do either 1-2-4-4 or 1-2-4-3, but neither of those matter. You can float the flip every time Eddy does this. They don't do it too often, but it's good to be ready. And down back 3, a super reactable low that's minus 13 on block. And I did want to throw this one into the punishment training tab, but it is a good honorable mention because you will see Eddy's use this move a lot. 1+2. This move isn't punishable and it's neutral on block, but I thought I'd mention it still. 1+2 on counter hit guarantees a 4-4 heat engager. If Eddy's spamming this, try using a fast counter hit if you have one, because this move's fairly slow at 20 frames.
Where have you been?
Now let's talk about Eddy's heat. His heat smash is an 18 frame mid plus 6 on block that on block leaves him in relax. Also, once in heat, Eddy has access to 3+4. It's a 20 frame mid plus 9 in the handstand. If he does this, he really can just do whatever he wants after. Plus 9, you need to take the guess, and you can't step. Eddy also in heat has quarter circle forward 4. It's a 22 frame high, also plus 9, except this time into relax. Those one you really gotta respect, because it's the 50-50, so prepare yourself. Get to guessing. Now let me help you when your back's against the wall. If Eddy ever gets you to the wall, here's 2 super common options that you're gonna see. First, let me talk about 4-3-4. It's his best option in my opinion. It's a high mid, first hit homing. The second hit is hit confirmable, so he can decide to kind of finish it or let it rip. If he finishes the string and you block it, it is minus 11, so make sure you're punishing it. And if he decides to cancel it and you have the read on him canceling it, make sure you're launching him. A quick tip about this string is it's a high mid, so if you have a read on him using this move, do a quick duck into a while standing, a fast while standing, and you'll punish before the second hit can come out. But be careful ducking at the wall because he might mix it up with the second option, down forward 1-3. Some Eddies are using it as a read for ducking, but they're trying to be lazy and knowledge check you. So make sure if they're using down forward 1-3 at the wall, that if you block the first hit, you duck that 3. Alright guys, that'll be all for the anti-Eddy guide brought to you by LongStyle Nuffa. I know I didn't cover every single punishable move and every single exact situation that he can put you in, but I covered a large majority of things that you'll see Eddies do. And as long as you get familiar with the things that I've shown, I promise you'll start cooking Eddies. Eddy isn't that strong of a character. He's really taking advantage of the fact that you don't know what you're looking at. And this was my first guide, so if there's any big glaring things that I've missed for Eddy, we don't gatekeep knowledge around here. Comment that down below. And if there's enough things, maybe I'll make an anti-Eddy guide part 2. If there's a specific character that you'd like next, also comment and let me know. Alright guys, thank you. And remember, go peep our other videos. Like, subscribe, and get the hell out of here, boy. Tight shit. Gang.